Never gonna dance again, Jesse. These guilty feet have got no. Oh wait, oh shit! Theme song.
Jesse and Bob are two dudes on the job to brighten your day while gabbing away on a pod. Forget your frown, let's see what's going down in Beachtown.
Whoa! Yay! What is going on, Beachtownians? Basic beaches, sons of beaches, sucker MCs. You can come too. I don't know what that means. Good to see you, Crazy Cats. Thank you for being here once again for episode 98 of Beachtown Comedy Podcast. This is the only hey, it happens. Sometimes you slip on a banana peel, Jesse Egan, but you know what? You get back up on a horse, you get back to square one, back to the drawing board, you throw it at the wall, you see if it sticks, daddy. Here we go again, take two, no edits. It's Beachtown Comedy, the only mental health podcast that actually cheers you up. The rest of them make you sadder. We are Jesse Egan and Bob. I'm one of those guys. Jesse Egan, how's it hanging, my man?
Good. It's good to see you. It's good to be here at a long Monday on Zoom. My eyes are burning. I got Zoom burn. Anybody else get that? Zoom burn where you're like, I can't look at tiny squares any longer. Whew, but I'm good. I'm good, buddy. It's good to see you. How you doing?
I'm still standing, being Bob, saying stuff, doing things, saying stuff related to the things I'm doing, and doing stuff in correlation with the things that I'm saying.
None of that meant anything. Did you?
No. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Any good shows this week?
No. Coming up, not this past week, but coming up, we are both. Call me crazy.
Crazy.
Thank you. We are both going to be on the this Thursday at the Best of San Diego at the Comedy Store La Jolla, 906 Pearl Street. Do not park at Vaughn's. I don't care unless you buy the deviled egg potato salad. They're cool with it. So we're going to be doing that. And since we last recorded, I was the feature act at Twigs in North Park in San Diego. I did 20 minutes at a coffee house in front of kids that are allowed to bring their own alcohol and are not ID'd. So how about that?
I didn't know they could bring their own alcohol.
They offered me a White Claw while the thing I was shooting. I go up there, I shoot the breeze, I shoot the fat, I rub elbows, grease palms, mover, shakers, trendsetters, go getters, gypsies, chance of thieves. Now I'm saying, hey guys, you're doing the thing, doing the stuff. You got your White Claws going, you crazy cats, and the dude just in the middle of my spiel, he goes, "You want one?" I said, "Brother, you don't understand, man. Bob's about as high as it gets, man. I jump off the walls, I bounce off the ceiling, I'm hip to that scene down like a clown out of here like Vladimir. But you know what? You get a karate kick anyway." Threw my karate kick, kept going to the thing. So
caused the third hernia.
Caused the third hernia. I'm the man of 1,000 hernias.
Are you ever going to stop doing kicks, or you? The hernia, it feels like you're risking more injury with.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's making everything worse. It's quite painful, but But the thing is, like they say in wrestling, it ain't ballet, brother. It ain't ballet.
It's not. Right? It's stand-up comedy, which normally requires you injuries.
Oh, dear. Yeah, you're right. It shouldn't require any injuries. But yeah, you were kind of out on me for a second. I hope you're there.
So Twigs, you went out on a limb and took leaf of your senses?
I survived. I did all right. Are you hearing an echo on you or on me? Maybe it's my end. Okay, it should be fine. Well, ignore it. It'll go away. I think is the best thing to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, that's
like hernia.
Just like, well, no, my surgery, my robot surgeon never called me. I'm waiting for my automated robot surgeon message.
Hosted by robots. That's
the robots will never get to me. Yeah.
Sounds like the next short film from Bob Hansen. Ghosted by robots.
It sounds like a Lifetime thing where a bunch of women watch it and cry and eat chocolate or something. Ghosted by robots.
Ghosted by robots.
Starring Cameron Candice Bure.
So what did you do this week without any comedy, Bob?
Well, one of them I'll tell you about all my social, but the place I always go to unwind and feel better is when I want my just desserts.
Yes.
You know where I go, and I think you know where I'm going. I think you know where I've been. I think we were all over it. I think we were off the hook, off the wall, off the chain, under the table, under the weather, under the radar. We were at the Pacific Beach Ice Cream Company at 1010 Grand Avenue at the corner of Grand and Cass in Pacific Beach, San Diego, right by the ocean with great parking, delicious service, and friendly service, and outstanding ice cream. Oh, did I say delicious service? I'm an asshole.
I like that.
Well, and the place next door jerks you off. So how about that?
Yes, that's interesting having the ice cream shop right next to a rub and tug, you know?
Yeah.
Now I
We
get
can.
why he didn't want to call it Dave's Creamery, but that was the first name. And he was gonna do some, cross promotion there.
Was he really?
Yeah,
Of course
free
he was.
handy.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't know what you do, soft serve and then hard serve.
Oh, Jesus Christ Almighty!
We'll cut this.
Yeah,
No,
I never cut
don't
anything.
edit anything.
I gave up on that a long time ago.
That was good. I had a coffee toffee flavored ice cream this last time at the PB Ice Cream Company. It was so good and so coffee, so much coffee. I was jacked up all night. I couldn't sleep. I was just like, ice cream. I had dreams of sugar plum fairies or whatever. It was good.
Yeah, no, they're next door as well. But we should tell people, why are we here? What are we doing?
Well, we're here for the Beachtown podcast, and this is a mental health podcast where we go through our G.R.A.P.E.S, which is an acronym that stands for gentle with self, relaxation or rest, accomplishment, pleasure, exercise, and social. And we try to deal with mental health. But disclaimer, we are not professionals, so we don't know anything about mental health. We're just going to give it our best shot. If you do have any issues with depression or anxiety or anything else, make sure to see a real professional. But in the meantime, let's give it a shot. Bob, you want to do some G.R.A.P.E.S?
Yes, but if you don't mind me, just before we jump bare feet in first to the G.R.A.P.E.S, just a reminder, Jesse Egan is not a professional. I am, so it's fine.
Bob's a professional wrestler.
Anything I say, I'm retired. but I may not have been to quote unquote medical school, or be that as it may, but I am a former Southern San Diego County Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion for 6 months in 2010, as well as a former Northeastern Pennsylvania World's Tag Team Champion for a few months in 2001 during 9/11.
I'd like to see someone go to a therapist and it's you. And they look at the diplomas on the wall and it's like, what is that? You fought the Moondogs.
Yeah,
does that qualify you to help me with my anxiety? And then they're like, I'm just really having a lot of problems. Bob's like, how about an elbow drop?
Yeah, like they go out. I'm just feeling like hurt all the time. It ain't ballet, brother.
You'd start giving your wrestling slogans as therapy. Just like if they fall asleep in the chair, you'd light them on fire like one of the Wild Samoans.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a story for that's not a very interesting story, I guess.
No, they just lit people on fire.
Yeah, and I actually, for the record, Off of the Wild Samoan was not there. He had nothing to do with that. Let me just clear that. It was different Samoans, but yes.
Okay.
But they were wild.
They were wild.
That part counted.
That's good. All right. Well, thank you for that. Bob is a professional. He wanted to clear that up. In any case, let's do some G.R.A.P.E.S, Bob.
We ain't doctors. We ain't saviors. Now enjoy the fruits of your labor. Oh, yeah.
A new flavor of Pepsi? No, it's G.R.A.P.E.S, baby. Let's do it. Let's start at the beginning with G. What do you got? You got anything for G? Gentle with self? Gentle with self.
I'll tell you, gentle with self is a compliment that we pay to ourselves, because a lot of folks don't compliment themselves enough, and that's always the one we have the most trouble with. Yeah,
true.
A lot
of negative self-talk going on in there, Bob. A lot of negativity that you got to purge and then say something nice.
Oh, there's a party in here and no one's having a good time, man. I got negative Nancy's, I got Debbie Downers, I got Doubting Thomases, I got Peeping Toms. Don't know why they're over there, but Peeping Toms are in there too. Everybody's having a battle. Everybody's fighting. Nobody's winning. Here's a compliment towards myself. Every time I recycle cardboard boxes, I break them down. How about I flatten them like you're supposed to do? A lot of people don't do that.
Bob is good for the environment.
Yeah, or I make things a little easier for the people who actually are good for the environment.
I like that, Bob. I think that's
smash that cardboard, and everyone should don't just toss it in the big recycle dumpster, because then some other guy's got to deal with it. Maybe he's going to throw it away and not care now. And no, don't do that.
I want to rip you off for your G. And
please do.
Piggyback on that, because I recycle, and I put my stuff in the bin for trash and my recycling and I didn't think of that as being a G until the other day. I went out there with some recycling stuff, and I was like picking through it and putting it in the one and the other and the other, and my neighbor watched me and she was like, "Oh, that's good. I just throw it all in the garbage." And I was like, "Well, why would they give you a blue one and you can't separate?" It's like, I'm like, okay. So apparently that's a quality not everyone has.
That's and, like, I get it. You're an asshole.
Yeah. Okay. She was just like, "Oh, you do that?" I'm like, I thought this is a social contract. Didn't we agree as a community? Why do they put us blue bins at all then? What do you just take a dump in the blue bin anytime you want? Like, what? I don't understand. You don't recycle. Like, she's just dumping plastic right into the ocean, going, "Oh, you do that, whatever. I burn tires. I don't care."
Sometimes it's still on the car. Not even my car. I don't care.
And it's not a current neighbor. She got evicted already. So
okay. Is this
probably for burning plastic?
Now, every time when I lived in New York, God help me, and I would visit and stay at your place for a few days in San Diego, every time I would go out back to the alley behind your apartment there, whether I'd be throwing something, recycling like a bottle, like a plastic bottle in the blue recycle thing, which made sense, or using your coin operated laundry system, I'd always see the same wacky old lady who was in a bikini for no reason all the time, and it was gross. And was she the same as the hoarder one, or is this all the same?
Yes, that's the same neighbor that got evicted. That's the hoarder neighbor who, if you could picture, for those that don't know her personally, like Bob, just picture the woman from There's Something About Mary, who was like leathery with like that bleached. Like she would just lay out in the sun until she was like just a like a belt.
Oh, geez. She would sometimes smoke a cigarette and light the match off her face.
She was like that old sketch on In Living Color with George Hamilton or whatever, where they like close up on Jim Carrey's face and then they zoom out and he's like part of a suitcase, and he's like, George Hamilton's leathery skin is your ticket to fashionable leather goods or whatever. And it's like, and they say, "Do you know George Hamilton?" "Know him. I beat my kids with him."
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway, and then Jennifer Lopez would dance. Yeah, it was a good show.
In living color, you can do what you wanna do. In living color. That was my favorite show.
Badass jam. It's a badass jam. Arguably the greatest television show theme song of all time.
Absolutely.
Does everyone feel better yet, by the way? Now,
have we cheered you up? Are you guys good mentally? Everybody good to go. Comedian at the show last night did a thing about their kids not knowing how to brush their teeth, and then he called her the R word, which I'm not going to say, but I am going to say it in the context of his tag, which was he goes, "Oh, I know that's wrong," and I was like, "Excuse me, are you dentally retarded?"
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I thought that's clever, even though it's still
wrong. Like it's yes, it's clever. But what level of clever is it compared to your level of being shitty? Like, you know what I mean?
It's still shitty.
Yeah, exactly. Is it clever enough to justify? Like, no.
I laughed. I know. Guilty.
I laughed too just now because I didn't see it coming. I was like, "Oh, okay, you got me." That's like a different.
It's supposed to be mentally, but play on words. It gets me every time. So my G is I recycle, and the opposite of the G is that I laugh at jokes that I shouldn't laugh at.
Absolutely.
Really wrong.
And just a reminder, this is the dental health podcast that actually cheers you up.
The dental health podcast.
Remember, Beachtown comedy, it's not okay to be okay.
Look at these pearly yellows.
Yeah.
So what's our R? Have you gotten any rest? I don't want to brag, Bob, but my new bed, my new robo bed, my new robotic hospital beezy.
I hope when I get my hernia
cooling tech.
I hope when I get my hernia surgery, your bed shows up to do my surgery.
Yes, you're gonna be laying in my bed going, "Oh yeah, this is good. I like it. I can watch some Squid Game up."
And then I turn to my left and you're there. Like,
That's how big my bed is. You wouldn't even notice.
I have no idea.
It's a king. I got 16 extra inches over that queen that we had. Queen, we were up against each other like, hi, honey, sleeping good, you know. And
we got to get
I don't
one.
know where she is. She's in another zip code. She's in another whole other state.
We definitely have to. I'm glad it's big because it's going to come in handy eventually when the three of us live together in a nice house.
It's true. Did you hear that? Did you hear that Brian Laundrie guys was? I don't know. He's dead. Do you think that's real? I know you used to be into conspiracies. Do you think maybe he took teeth out of his own head and put them into a partial skull of some, you know, and then pretended to?
No, I'm not following the laundry thing. Quite honestly, I know there's a.
Well, here's the thing: you got to do whites separate.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. Coin laundry is great because I have the cleanest change in the world.
Nice.
Okay.
How's your rest going, Bob? How's your
goodness gracious. I had the weirdest sleep that was good and should not have been good. I passed out early on Saturday night after a wild time, which we'll talk about. I passed out early on Saturday night on my couch, which is really like two big love seats smashed together. So there's a gaping hole in the middle where your spine shouldn't go, but mine did. And I only passed, but it was the nicest, just completely, just dead sleep. There was, as I remember, I only have nightmares, and I have nightmares every time I sleep, just about. Always. Except,
what was the new nightmare?
No, I forget them all the time. Them all the time. But this time, I just closed my eyes. I was watching. I blinked and I woke up, and it was great. There were no nightmares. But what I was watching was, and we're going off the rails here. This is why I hate multiverses. And I've been trying to steer clear of multiverses because I watched a DC animated movie that's in one of their multiverses, and Aquaman is a Nazi. Aquaman, it takes place in 1942.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's fighting the Nazis with a Romanian accent for reasons we don't understand. Batman isn't alive, and Clark Kent is just a reporter because that's fun. And then Aquaman shows up and he puts his arm up and goes, Heil Hitler. I'm like, no, Aquaman. That's not the Aquaman I want. And
how did he get so prejudiced? Are there Jews under the water somewhere? What's his problem? You know, calm down, Aquaman.
That Third Reich had a powerful reason.
Right?
What was going on? He just, he just believed in certain superior fish. I don't understand.
Great white sharks. Wow. Well, I'm with you on that. I don't care for Nazi Aquaman or multiverses that create Nazi Aquaman.
This is why I hate multiverses, because then
I also hate Aquaman. Can I mention that?
Do you really? I like Aquaman.
I hate Aquaman, especially the stupid Aquaman movies that they've been making where he swims in jeans. But well, let's not get into
which one? The Jason Momoa guy.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought that was arguably the greatest film ever made.
I'd argue against that.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not something I throw on willy-nilly, but
I know you wouldn't.
But this was a cartoon that has nothing to do with that particular DC universe. But again, they made a point to tell you with some ominous time guy, which is the same as the What If show. I think they ripped off or whatever. That hey, this is a different universe, and then Aquaman shows up and he's a Nazi. And I'm like, I stick to one. It's lazy writing to me. Stick to one universe and get it right. Stop screwing around. It's just basically giving themselves like multiple lives in Super Mario. Like you don't get do-overs for fucking up Batman all the time. Knock it off. Do it right.
Run out of ideas, you know.
If you're not going to do it, don't do it. It just bothers me. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, I fell asleep during Nazi Aquaman, and then I woke up, and I felt so rested. I really enjoyed myself, and I went back to sleep after a few hours for another few hours, still on the couch.
Last night, Jimmy Calloway did a joke. He goes, who's your favorite Jewish superhero? And of course, people had some trouble naming one, but he said his is the Thing from Fantastic Four, the big orange rock guy.
Yeah.
Because he has this catchphrase after he hits him, when he's about to hit somebody, he goes, "It's clobbering time."
Yeah. But
he goes, that's not his original catchphrase. His original catchphrase was, "Again with the clobbering." Jimmy Calloway, everybody.
Yeah, that's very funny.
It's so funny.
Again, which is not one of his sayings, I don't think.
I don't think so.
If you look it up, if you do your research. What happens after R?
So
do we have any accomplishments? Do you have an accomplishment?
Just quoting Jimmy.
That you could use that, sure.
Yeah, let's see what accomplishments. I wrote some good scripts this week, Bob. I had a
You
good
did.
one.
You did. You've been script writing. Well, that's how
Script
you're a
writing
script
and the new
writer.
job. I love the job. You know, I'm a 9 to 5 guy.
Yeah,
I
you got the briefcase and the tie, and
don't have any of
smoking. No, and drinking the coffee, and then
we had to
and
do a show for like our team last night. Like I did a show at this place in Barrio Logan, and the whole basically like all of the employees showed up. So I'm performing stand up in front of them, you know, and
oh Jesus.
the booker was like, oh, someone came in and like waved, and they were like, oh, is that a coworker? And I said, I think so. I don't know. I've only met them on Zoom. I don't know.
Right.
I've only seen them when they're this big, you know. So it was like nice seeing them in person. But you know, it's basically started the show with you know, the great thing about performing stand up in front of the head of HR is. And he was there. I told him to earmuffs a couple times. Like, earmuffs.
I don't even know if that works.
Yeah, but it was fun because they had us performing behind like this like booth, so it was like a ledge. So you could only see me from the waist up. So I was like, this is actually just like my new job, because I work on Zoom, and just like there, you know, I'm not wearing any pants.
Yeah.
Pull off all the stupid Zoom jokes and stuff, but
Yeah, well, you have to do that,
but that's my accomplishment, Bob, is that stupid joke. No,
yeah.
I think I'd say accomplishment was you know, getting out and doing stand up. I hadn't done it in a little while. I felt a little rusty, and it reminded me like you got to get out often and, you know, keep that muscle going. But it was a good show.
In a way, I think the accomplishment is because we've all had to do this a handful of times. I have as well, and it is hard. Doing stand up in front of your coworkers is hard because if they come to see you, it can be, let's say it's some venue that's never not just the right venue for stand up comedy. All these factors can go wrong, and it's a one and done. And this is how they will see you and tell others this is what you do every single night. So you can have like a whole week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, a great set. And then Thursday is the day they come to see you. And Thursday is the day that the bar is shitty, the TVs are on, the microphone is off, the people are urinating in their trousers, something. And then, and on every punchline, somebody collapses on the floor and they're sweaty from taking too much Molly. And then a guy pulls his wiener out, puts it back in, and starts serving the drinks again. And everything can go wrong. This is a running gag.
Oh yeah, right. It's a good show.
Running gag at the U Brew U Ale House. It burned down. It burned down during the show.
Sounds like a good thing. Probably.
As a joke, one guy a guy was on stage and he lit the place on fire. But it's okay.
And that was your accomplishment.
No. I didn't do that. I got my freaking show banned because the stupid lead singer of AF as fuck. He made a joke about the Y2K survivors during a Y2K survivor donation and awareness benefit. So he thought he was being funny. Everyone said the comedians were making fun of the Y2K survivors' families or the victims' families. Like, then we got in trouble for it and lost the show. But
this is inception of weird, like, imaginary things going on now.
No, don't say that.
Okay.
But
just being fake mad or something.
No, don't say fake. You're goddamn it. You're breaking more fourth walls than the Kool-Aid Man. Jesus Christ.
I'm confused. I was like, he's actually upset about. Oh, okay.
No, never.
What is your A, Bob? Give me an A.
I'll give you an A. I purchased a new computer, new laptop, a new robot.
Nice.
I did.
Did you get that sweet one from Superman 3 with Richard Pryor? Because that's the computer I've always wanted.
Yeah, it puts the extra fractions of a penny into your account.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. I did not get that one.
And it also beats Superman.
So this is how old and stupid I am. So I went to Staples, and I knew going in, I'm like, dollars to donuts, and also if you still say dollars to donuts, something's wrong with you. Dollars to donuts. They're not going to have CD drives anymore, so there's not going to be so I'm not going to be able to get like a Norton antivirus compact disc type of CD-ROM type of thing, and I'll have to do something else for virus protection until I realize Windows actually comes with virus protection. But I noticed that, but right before I'm about to get this computer at Staples, and the selection wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, quite honestly. I went, oh, wait a minute. Where do I put in the Ethernet? And apparently Ethernet jacks are no longer in laptops generally, which makes me feel like really old. Like, well, then what the hell do we, I'll give you the CD thing. I had that coming, but then there's no Ethernet. So you know what I did? I left and I went to Target, which is like a half a block away. And I said, well, they have them there. Well, I bet you they have some Ethernet ones there. Fuck these things. And they didn't. And again, so I talked to the kid. Of course, it's always a kid. And thankfully, because I have 2 useless basic IT certifications, I can gab enough to not get really sucked into sales guys. Like right away, he's like, oh, what are you looking for? I go, looking for this one right there. It's got 8 gigs of RAM. That's what I want. I'm not a gamer. I don't want 12. I know it's got Windows 10, which we're still using. I know that there's a Windows 11 upgrade coming up, but not quite. So we'll just deal with that later because most of these things come with a free upgrade to Windows 11. And I even looked it up. I said, I know there's still service in Windows 10 for the next 4 years or 3 years, whatever it is. So I'm not really too worried about it. He's like, oh, okay, cool, though. This one's yours. I said, great. 2 questions. First of all, I'm assuming there's no virus protection or whatever. I have to get on my own because there's no CDs that are sold because there are no CD racks anymore. I go, that's pretty much the case, right? He goes, yeah, that's the case. I said, cool. Let me ask you this. Do you have a USB Ethernet adapter? Because I had just Googled on my phone minutes earlier that you can get an adapter. And he looked and he goes, now we don't even sell those. So I got one of those off Amazon for like $13. So that's coming. So it's not really the end of the world. But I was just right before.
Did you consider a Mac? Did you consider getting a Mac, or were you like, no, I'm a PC guy?
I'm a PC guy. They don't sell Macs at Staples or Target anyway.
Okay.
I don't even know. I would have to go to the Best Buy. You probably have to go to an Apple store, I think, and I don't know where those are. There's one near Central Park. That's not helping me right now.
That's one near Central.
And I really don't want to take a new computer on the goddamn N train, quite frankly. So I would like to come back with unstabbed. So
you're in California now, Bob.
I'm in California, but I still don't know where the Apple store is. So I'm on my second battery that's dying of my current computer. So this is the last time that when we do this, that I'm going to be really hunched low in my seat, because the big problem with my current laptop is one of the hinges is broken, or it's half broken. So my laptop doesn't open all the way. It's very fragile, and you really can't close it and open it ever again, or the entire thing's going to shatter. And there's really no way to fix that. So my laptop opens not at a 90, but really only at like a 70-degree angle. So when I edit and when I read and when I watch it, because my laptop is my TV, I watch from underneath. So I don't know how I got. Look, I'm headless in space. Do you see this?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, there. Yeah.
Hopefully, your new laptop will fix that.
Yeah, I don't know if I can.
Oh, I'm glad you got a new computer. That's awesome,
and
hopefully it's easy to use and you get it all working. And our next episode, we'll get to test that out.
So far, so good. And
That's a good A.
It's a great A. It's a great A because I'll be able to record these faster and get more done. I'll get more work done, quite frankly, because I won't have like, this thing is slow. Video editing is my thing. I like to video edit, of course, and I'd like to not stare at it and watch things spin in circles and get angry and get a headache watching it, because that's very frustrating. But good accomplishment for me, so I'm feeling good about it.
That's good. That's a good accomplishment. For P, for pleasure, I'm gonna say it was really kind of fun going to meet you at the PB Ice Cream Company with Dave. Yeah. I thought that was a lot of fun to just meet up after work and have a scoop and get to see Davey Boy. And that was a lot of fun. That was my pleasure for the week, really, was meeting up with you guys and having a little tasty ice cream.
Well, that was a big pleasure for me as well, but I am going to use that for my social momentarily.
Okay.
And so I'll expand on my experience a little more thoroughly. Is that all you got for P? We were just hanging, shooting a breeze?
Hanging, shooting the breeze.
That's a good one. Well,
having some tasty cream.
Jesse Egan, I'm gonna call you that as much as possible during this podcast, because it makes me laugh.
It out.
Because it's like Joey D is calling Joe Rogan.
Listen, Joe Rogan. Wash your balls, Joe Rogan.
It makes me laugh every time.
He's really fixated on balls, isn't he?
He's got a lot of ball stuff, Joey does, yeah.
I love Joey, and he loves
Wash your nuts, yeah.
Wash your nuts, wake up, it's gonna be a great day. As long as you scrub those suckers. Joe Rogan, wash your balls. He must hang out with a lot of people that just don't.
What happened? Where did that come from? Yeah.
I don't know.
I was a Superman too, Joe Rogan. Wash your balls.
Spider-Man. Yeah. Wash Spider-Man's balls.
Running gag on this program. Wash your balls, General Zod.
General
Zod. Okay.
Dirty balls are your kryptonite, General Zod. Wash them.
For my pleasure. Normally, for my pleasure, I just use it as like a show and tell for the latest toy that I just bought. But the reality of the situation is I can't do that forever. I can't just show you the new toy and be a child and blah, 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 blah. That's foolish. And I'm not going to do that to you this week. Instead,
wouldn't do it to us.
Instead, I've been reading these G.I. Joe comic books. And I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, because I was expecting to have my hernia surgery by this point, and I wanted something to read while I was laid out, but because the hernia robot's ghosting me, this makes less sense. Does anyone feel better? Do you feel better out there?
So you read those before you got the chance to hernia robot?
I didn't have the willpower to not read these amazing G.I. Joe comic books that are reproductions of the Marvel ones from the 80s. I just did it because I fought it off.
Where'd you get those?
Just off Amazon. I just tried to find the used better deals, and so there's like 5 or 6. I got 2 more on the way.
Cool. Show us the covers. We want to see all the covers.
This is a good. This is number 1.
Hold it up a little bit. Oh, look at that.
There you go. There you go.
Big.
And here,
that's number 1.
That's number 1, but they made a really tiny version. But here, I'll show you one of. I know you like Snake Eyes. Hang on a second here.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well.
Disappeared completely now.
Help the Snake Eyes go. God damn it, Snake Eyes. He's a ninja. He
Bob's like a ninja. Look at Bob.
Okay, so there's. Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. And not only that, okay, so that's like the most badass cover.
Yeah.
And if you look on the lower left-hand corner, you see my favorite, the Spider-Man when he had the black costume. And I was going to ask you that if like any of these comics that you bought, because in the old days they would have the barcode there, but if you bought it, if you bought it at certain places instead of a barcode, it would have the little Spider-Man head or some other logo. But for a certain period of time during Marvel, when Spider-Man switched to the black costume, they put those on the comic. And to me, those are like
badass, right?
That's an extra value to me, is like Spider-Man being on there. That's so cool, Bob.
These things are littered with like Spider-Man advertisements and that kind of stuff. And
he's the greatest.
Very cool. So I'm enjoying those.
So you read them all and they're all good?
Yeah, there's not a bad one in a bunch.
That's cool.
It's dated too, so these GI Joes are basically more or less Vietnam vets, but they're not really. I mean, they're more like, they're not Vietnam veterans in the sense that like they're 70 years old walking around today. They're recent Vietnam veterans, but now it's like the late 70s, early 80s, and they're still on other missions that the public doesn't know about. Is the best way to put it.
Sound like the A-Team a little bit.
Very A-Teamish, yes. Yeah, very much so.
I forgot to mention for my P. I was going to say I realized I started a new show, which was Squid Game, which I've enjoyed, although it's much more violent than I thought it would be. You know?
Oh dear.
They open with like kids playing games, and I'm like, oh, it's a kids game show, but it's not, Bob. It's very, very violent. So.
Oh, jeez. So what is the Squid Game that the kids are talking about? Is it a real game show, or is it a fake
Korean show that's on Netflix, in which they enlist a bunch of really desperate people to play children's games, and the stakes are extremely high. I don't want to give up too much more of the plot, but basically it's sort of like a life and death version of kids games, and if potentially you can win billions of dollars or lose your life. So it's an interesting premise, because no one is forcing these people to enlist and play in these games. These people have really like lost everything, or they're in debt or whatever, and they're going to play. So it's pretty captivating. It's hard to stop watching. So don't be depressed. It's an exciting show. Anyway, let's move on to E, exercise. I did none, but Bob probably did.
Too much. There's a pattern going on. I'm a little bit behind. Yesterday, I didn't. What is today? Monday. Yesterday, what I did was I only got walking done yesterday, and not a whole lot. But I drove out to the Sunset Cliffs. I was in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
The Sunset Cliffs, and I took some video for my He-Man adventures. And in doing so, I got to walk around the trail a little bit, some in and out of the mazes that go around the cliff over the ocean. And because it's hard to get away from humans. I keep forgetting that every time I do that.
Escape them.
Yeah, they're everywhere, and especially with my thing, I don't like any ambient noise to have humans yelling in it. So try doing that when it's a sunset on a beach, in San Diego.
Yeah, not on my beach.
That's pretty hard to do, and half the time I just don't use it, and I just use a different audio altogether. But once in a while, I'll get some natural sea wave sounds, and I got a couple. So
when you film here in Ocean Beach, all we get is G.I. Joe people yelling and screaming about meth and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It ruins the dialogue.
It's the worst. Like, why is every single Joe on meth this week?
Go Joe and get all right.
Roadblock, bazooka, tweaker. You're squad A. You're like, wait, what? No, how is that possible?
Now I know, and knowing is half the battle. The other half, meth.
Toothless.
Well, that's good.
Hoarder, get out there.
So the only exercise I really did this week was, I have an adjustable desk here at home in my office. So I decided to raise it all the way up most of last week, and I would keep it up during the day. So I would stand. I got a little like anti-fatigue mat to stand on. So rather than sit all day and just be sedentary, I'd stand, and then you kind of shifting a little bit and moving. And I felt a little better about it, less aches and pains from not sitting all day long. So that's not really exercise, but there was a time in between Zoom meetings when I put some music on and I was dancing.
Yeah.
I was dancing.
That's badass. What were you dancing to?
I listened to the magnificent Jazzy Jeff. I don't know if you remember him from Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, but he has his own show that he does on YouTube that's like he's DJing and playing all this amazing music, and he's the greatest. He's the magnificent.
So. That is tremendous.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I didn't know he was still kicking.
Oh yeah. Jazzy Jeff is still, he's still, people think that his career ended when he got thrown out of the house by the dad, but no, he's still out there DJing. And for my money, dollars to donuts, he's the best DJ around. So
I would say he's arguably the best DJ of all time.
He's arguably the jazziest. So that brings us all the way to S, social, which I got to see all of my co-workers basically last night, and got to see James and Dallas and Anosh and AJ and Jimmy Calloway and all these comic friends. So that was that was the most social I've been in forever, was getting together, doing a show, and that was pretty fun.
What is it
like?
I
did not drink anything. I just drank water because I've been on that kick, and Sal was there. Sal from Awful Neutral showed up, and so I got to hang out with Sal also, which was awesome. So we were talking about our diverticulitis, and he was talking about how he thinks a lot of what sets it off is just dehydration. So he said his doctor had told him, if you drink a beer or a cup of coffee, you got to drink 2 glasses of water just to counteract that. So as soon as he said that, I just gave away my drink tickets, and I said, I'm just going to drink water. I'm not going to bother with that. It just reminded me of how I'm going to pay for it later. So, was that a Pepsi Blue? Oh no, even better.
It's
Bob's
water.
It
is water. That's
awesome.
What we're drinking. It's nothing but look at this. This one's empty. This one's empty. This one's full. There we go. I'm just switching out. I'm switching out. You can't stop me. You can't stop me. But speaking of water, or should I say water? My social was I went to the ice cream place, the Pacific Beach Ice Cream Company. Geez, that's a great commercial. For editing purposes, I went to the Pacific Beach Ice Cream Company at 1010 Grand Avenue. It's the corner of Grand Cas and San Diego, right by the ocean in Pacific Beach. There's excellent parking. There's excellent service and absolutely delicious ice cream. And do you know what I had, Jesse Egan?
I think you had the lemon water ice.
I had the lemon water ice, and it was absolutely tremendous. I did not know. I was unaware that a good lemon ice even has tiny little lemon rind things in it.
Yes.
I didn't know that. And usually I'm used to a lemon Italian ice. You know, maybe we were kids. You know, mom would get them from the supermarket, and they were good because they were sugary, but you really didn't taste the lemon. When you're a kid, they're just sugary. Everything is good. You don't really sugary, you have no palate. But this just cleansed my palate. This was absolutely tremendous. I just had a small cup of lemon water ice.
And it's so lemony.
It was like, so lemony. It was so good. It was, and I didn't tell them, so I arrived shortly before you and Anna, and that's why when I saw you guys come from the parking lot, I just gave you like a wink. I didn't tell them you guys were coming.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I was just messing around and
surprise for him.
You know, doing the thing. Yeah.
That's cool.
I didn't tell Dave, and we were just thought, oh, this is cool. We'll just hang out for a bit. And the funny thing about, in a way, for me, being social reminds me of the same way that I used to feel when I could go running. It reminds me of the same way that I feel when I would exercise or do walking or yoga or whatever.
Yeah.
I always put it off. I don't want to do it. 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 I do it. And then when I'm done, I never regret it. I'm always like, that was definitely better. Yeah. Every single time. Especially with the running back in the day before my knees just went to shit. But I was like, yeah, this is the best.
Yeah.
I wish I could run again. Oh man, that was the best. But
I'm like that every time when we go swimming at the Y and do some laps. I feel like, boy, I feel so much better the whole day. You know, I've never regretted that, you know.
Like you can't imagine not doing it after you did it. You're like, imagine the day if you didn't do it, that would suck ass.
We keep being like, oh, we'll get up at 7 a.m. We'll go every day in the morning. And so far, it's just been rough trying to make that happen. But
yeah, dude,
really the only time we can go, either go at 7 a.m. or go at 6:30 p.m. And either way, it's kind of like dark and cold out. So
now 6:30, yeah.
You don't really feel like going swimming at 6:30 because you're tired. I think 7 a.m. is going to be the only time we can do it, but it's hard to get up. We'll get there. We'll get there.
It's a good soch. It was a good soch for me. Actually, I want to go backwards. I want to go backwards to your soch a little bit. Now, I know how hard it is to do stand-up in front of your coworkers, but with taking the comedy out of it, just meeting your coworkers who you've previously only known on Zoom, what's that like? Because
it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because you've only seen them in a tiny little square. So, you know, for me, I only work with about 6 people really closely, and the rest of the crew I only see like once a week on like status meetings when we got like 100 people on there. Yeah. So to me, it was fine because it was really like performing for strangers, which I prefer. You know, I didn't feel like extra judged. I mean, a little bit because they're coworkers and the HR guy and all that. But really, I tried to just turn that into directed jokes of like, these are ad libs for the company and for this situation. So I thought that kind of helped. And otherwise, it was really basically like performing for strangers, like I say, because I'm the new guy and I don't really even know them yet. And but I would say that, you know, it was nerve-wracking and I kind of forgot what I was doing. And I did the thing where I opened with a brand new idea. I wanted to talk about this concept of, you know, I finally got a day job. You know, for 20 years, I never had a day job. And I was waiting for someone to say, you know, don't quit your day job. And nobody ever did. So now I got one. And, you know, hey, I can bomb at comedy now and just sit around and wait for the feedback, you know, just hang around after the show. Like, you got anything for me? You want to tell me any career advice, anything? You know? They're like, no, it's pretty good. Just keep at it. You know, just keep trying. Comedy's hard, whatever. I'm like, no, you've been like anything about my occupation. Do you think, is there any like lowly, like daytime kind of career I should maybe pursue or try to retain anything, you know? And they're just like, no, it's okay. I'm just like, fucking say it, you know, say it. It's fucking, don't quit your day job. I just want to hear that one time. And then I'd be like, I won't. I love it. I love my day job because my boss is here at this show. So yeah, I was trying to work that out at the top because I had a comedian friend named Paul Ogata who said, if you bury your brand new stuff in the middle or later in the act, you're not going to sell it. You don't really believe in it. But if you put it at the beginning, it's like this risk of you're going to kneecap yourself. You're going to dig huge hole for yourself if you don't sell it at 100%. So the idea is you're the most passionate about this new material, and even if it isn't like perfectly worked out, to sell it 100%, and hopefully it'll propel the momentum of your set. I think last night I dug a huge hole, but I quickly got out of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think for the most part it works, especially if you have something that you can remember. But if it's like a longer bit like I had, it was a little shaky, but it was fine. We were all kind of in the same boat with that. Just sort of like no one kind of came out, blazing. It was sort of like we're easing into every set, but it was fun.
That's always a thing too. Like people forget, performing for coworkers is one thing, but when coworkers, especially when it's a lot of them, like when we would have an office party when I was a door guy at the Comedy Store back in the 70s, they would have an office party, and the coworkers are with each other, and not only are you weirded out by being in front of your coworkers doing stand-up of all things, it's not like a song and you could be like, it's a fucking song, you play the instrument and it's even a cover, look, I didn't even write it, you can't get mad at me. But coworkers are next to each other, so there's that hesitation of, do I want to laugh at that amongst all my coworkers too? Am I the jerk who laughs at this? And they were all, every time, especially around this time of year, Christmas office bullshit, they would always get all, and rightfully so, because honestly, I wouldn't sit at a comedy show in front of any of my coworkers ever.
I mean, every time I do one of those as like a corporate gig, I'll say thank you so much for coming out to this mandatory event.
That's funny, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've noticed it. I think early on doing corporate shows, I did a couple with Zoltan, where early on he kind of pointed it out to me that, boy, is it hard to perform when and it's like a whole staff there with their boss. They're all kind of looking at the boss like, is it okay to laugh at this? And like, if he laughs, they might laugh, but otherwise they don't want to laugh at something that's off color. And then he's like, oh, they're a pervert, or whatever.
Yeah.
What's that?
Or she.
The
boss.
Thank you. Yeah.
I tried. I fucking tried. Yeah.
I was thinking of one particular gig we did together.
Okay, well, fair enough. I'm just saying in theory.
Yeah, no, that's true. So we got through our grapes, Bob, and now it's time for my favorite part of the part where Bobby gives us an amazing synopsis of a movie from usually the 80s, but sometimes more current, like the 90s. And today we're going to see a very exciting film. I don't want to give up too much. Bob, let's play the theme song.
Popcorn and previews, movies and reviews at the theater.
And Jesse Egan, we are back. We are talking about Multiplicity, which on paper, Jesse Egan, I read the synopsis on Amazon. It's a popular retail streaming site, and it has live video streaming and whatnot. I'll explain it some other time. Okay. I read the synopsis and I thought, oh, this has got to be based on the premise of this film. This has got to be 88, 89. Clearly, a man clones himself so he can basically be in several places at once and do well at his job and make his wife and kids happy, but not do any real work at the same time. So he finds a way to clone himself with very little explanation. Clearly, this is from 1988. This was from 1996, which blew my mind.
Pretty current for you, Bob.
We are talking about the film starring Batman. We are talking about Multiplicity. Jesse Egan. Okay. Yes.
It's a good film.
Okay. Actress Andie MacDowell slept with a guy who's mentally challenged.
What about the movie Multiplicity?
A recording in 3, 2, 1. We're talking about Multiplicity. That's my favorite thing. That's so silly. There's a cleaner version of this gag. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's try it.
There's just not enough Michael Keaton to go around. We're talking about it's not as much fun. The poor woman, she had to be in this movie. Oh, okay. 1996, Multiplicity. Here we go. Okay. Multiplicity. It's directed, it's produced by Egon from the Ghostbusters. Do you know that?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Egon made the movie where there's a lot of Michael Keatons, and Batman is everywhere because even though he fights crime in Gotham, he can't go to work and like spend time with his family or something or other. So anyway, Batman's having trouble at work. He's like a construction contractor guy, but Eugene Levy, who isn't the dad from American Pie yet, destroys the wrong driveway, and Michael Keaton's very upset, but he doesn't fire him. And Michael Keaton's own boss starts yelling at him, and then Michael Keaton comes back and to see Andy McDowell, who hasn't slept with a guy with Down syndrome yet, but she will. And then he sees her and she's yelling at him, hey, you're never home. You got to work late. You forgot the kid had a dance recital and you weren't there. And he's like, I know my jerk boss is a jerk and my asshole coworker is an asshole and everything sucks. And I couldn't get away and everything's going wrong. And everyone's mad at me. There's not enough of me. What do I do? And Andy McDowell's yelling at him. She's like, if you don't behave, I'm going to sleep with a guy who's developmentally disabled. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm Batman. And then Batman goes to like another job, and it's a rich guy's house. It's a rich doctor, and the doctor says, well, what's wrong with you? What's bothering you? I could see you're very upset because Batman found out that one of the pipes was broken, and finally he snapped and the pressure got to him, and he just starts punching the pipe and breaking it, and there's water everywhere, and the Batman is soaked, and then Beetlejuice is hanging off the balcony and he's dripping, and then finally random doctor guy who we pretty much never see again, he comes over, hey, what's wrong with your Batman? And then next scene you see Batman's on a couch and a psychiatrist is listening to his problems. And then Batman goes, hey, what do you think I should do? And he goes, doctor says, I don't know, I'm not a psychiatrist. And I'm a totally different kind of doctor. And he's like, well, what the hell am I telling you all my problems for? He's like, I don't know, but I like listening. And the doctor says, I'll tell you how I got everything done. I work in cloning viruses, and then my Batman, directed by Egon, says, "Oh, that's nice. We can't have too many viruses." And then the doctor says, "And then I cloned an earthworm." And he goes, "Congratulations!" And the doctor says, "And I cloned a chimpanzee." He's like, "Well, okay, that's kind of cool, I guess." And there's something else I did. And then another version of the same doctor who looks like his twin brother comes in, and the doctor's been cloning humans the whole time.
Wow.
And apparently there's no authorities involved whatsoever. No one's investigated this. It's not in the news, and it stayed a perfect secret this entire time. Why? Because there were no cell phones. You couldn't make this movie today for that reason. Everyone knew. But anyway, so Michael Keaton, after knowing the crazy cloning doctor for an hour, says, okay, I'll let you clone me. And then Michael Keaton wakes up and he realizes he's not even the same. He's number two. He has the same memories. He thinks he's the first guy because the 1996 cloning process involves cloning humans at the same age that they currently are, which I don't think that's how that works. But we go with it because the 1988 movie's happening in 1996, directed by Egon. And then now there's two Michael Keatons, and they're both named Doug, by the way. That's important for later, I guess. But the second Michael Keaton, here's the thing. The second Doug, he's more of a go-getter, but he's a bit more macho. He's a bit more alpha male. And he says, you know what? You take care of the kids. I'll go to work for you. And then the second Batman, he goes to work and he's getting everything done. And he's kicking ass, and he has no other life because no one's allowed to know he's alive. So he just works 7 days a week and just starts doing a great job. He fired Eugene Levy, who didn't have the kid who fucked the pie yet, but he will 3 years later. And he's just getting everything done, and everyone loves him at work. And the guy who he hates at work is jealous of him, and it's awesome. But Andy McDowell is very, suspicious. How come you're in different moods at different times? I call you at work, you're grumpy, you just hang up, but then you're here, and how'd you get back home so quickly? And it's just lie after lie after lie. And this is another reason, the main reason it's really an 80s movie, because our protagonist just lies and is lazy and uses his excuse to spend more time with the family and kids to go golfing and lay around and watch sports. And what does he do? Of course, because he needs someone now to spend time with his wife and kids and someone to work for him. He makes a second clone. So now there's 3 Batmans, and the third one, he's different because they kind of make a joke that they imply that he might be kind of like gay, because in the 90s, the joke was someone's gay, and that was the entire punchline. So it's 1996, so they made it work. And he was really very tidy. He was like, remember Will and Grace? He was Will from Will and Grace, pretty much. He was the same character. And he's tidy, and he's doing all the cooking and the baking and the cleaning and everything else. And she's confused, and she's constantly lied to. And then he tells the 2 Dougs, there's only one rule. You don't have sex with my wife. You can see what happens. And then finally, Doug decides the golfing's too stressful for him, and then the faking the job and faking the marriage is too stressful. He goes on a boat in the Catalina's and he throws up on the boat, and now there's 3 clones. That's right, 2 and clones 2 and 3. The macho one and the potentially homosexual one made a third one, but he had special needs. He's got developmentally disabled, you understand. So he's not right in the head, and he keeps calling the other Doug Steve and making a mess and eating food. And it's Michael Keaton doing an impersonation of a special needs guy, which was totally cool in 1996. But anyway, Andy McDowell was being lied to left and right, and she's just trying to be a good mom. And while first Batman is puking in a Catalina's off a boat, she's yelling at the guy she doesn't know is Goofy after she has sex with the other 3 of them unknowingly, thinking that Batman just wants to have sex all day. So she has sex with the tidy one first, and then the macho one second, and then the not so smart one. And that's when he says the famous line to Doug. He goes, "She touched my peppy, Steve," and everyone laughs. It's hilarious because she basically unknowingly took advantage of this man with developmental disability. And wait a minute, this gets better. So finally, Batman comes by, and him and the other 3 clones who have no money, no social security cards, should not exist, and with the help of Eugene Levy, who forgives them somehow, they all just rebuild the house and make it nice, because that should fix the marriage. And then he goes to the Andy McDowell's with the kids and her parents, and he takes her back and he shows her the new house. And then the new house, the fact that he fixed it makes up for the fact that he was a bad husband. And finally, when they're about to get back together, he makes a bold and brave decision to not tell her the truth and continue keeping the secret. And then she forgives him, and she realizes he's changed. And then she stays with him, and he gives the other 3 Dougs a car, and they drive away with no money and no ability to, just as humans who
in society,
as humans who are 42 but have been alive for a month. And then they drive to Florida, and somehow they start their own pizza business, where the macho guy, I guess, serves them, and the tidy guy cleans them, and the not so bright guy thinks that they're newspapers, so he throws the pizza boxes, confusing them with the newspapers at the doors. And that's not how you deliver pizza, because it's going to make a mess of the food. And then they show the family happy together, and he got away with his lie. The end. And that was Multiplicity.
He learned nothing. That's
no
great.
one learned anything.
No one learned anything.
This woman was lied to, and she unknowingly was tricked into having sex with 3 men who were not her husband. And he kept that secret.
And everything worked out for him.
Everyone wins.
Everyone wins. Except for I guess so. Even the clones.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds terrible, but I thought I remembered enjoying it at the time, but maybe that was 1996, and I don't know. So overall, I mean, can you give me? It was a very good synopsis, and I appreciate that. But if you had to sort of distill it down to, maybe a 1-sentence review, what do you think you could do that for us? I know it's a little bit tough to sort of consolidate all this data into one tiny phrase, but if you had to, what would be your review of Multiplicity?
I'm glad you asked, and it's funny to make such a request, because we have a movie called Multiplicity. There's so many different Batmans, but there's only one way you can summarize the entire film.
Yeah,
and there's only one Egon who directed the film.
That's right.
So, with that said, taking all these into consideration, with all of its flaws, with all of its stains, with all of its faux pas, with all of its imperfections, arguably the greatest film ever made.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mind blown by that review. That's incredible. And I think everyone should rush out to 1996 and watch that film right away. And we thank you for that fantastic synopsis and review, Bob. It was really informative and enjoyable. And weird, very weird. It's a very weird movie. So many Batman. And really the moral above all else is, if someone's has developmental disability, or might sort of be a homosexual, let them bang your wife and laugh. Mm-hmm. And they'll probably open a pizza restaurant. It's good advice.
Yeah.
probably better mental health advice than we've given anyone.
I just want to say too, as we wrap this up, I just want to say you're welcome to all the people we've helped.
Yeah. So many. I think 2 in Ireland, maybe. I don't think they needed help, actually. I think they were fine to begin with. They were really more of a fan of you and your toys.
Well, I should say this, if I could tack on a last minute social. I had a Skype interview with the quote 3 guys in Ireland, and they think that's hilarious. There's one guy in Ireland, one guy in the Netherlands, but it is fun. But now it's funny just to refer to them as 3 guys in Ireland. I had a wonderful Skype chat with them for the bulk of Sunday afternoon about
That's awesome.
About toys and toy community. So it was very nice to see what's going on across the pond and compare plastic and our other shenanigans. So that would have been, actually, I should have mentioned that as a social as well, but I didn't want to leave that part of me.
That's a good one. Just shout out to Chris. Who are the 3? It's Chris and
Mark and no one else. There's actually 2 guys.
It's 2. Okay. I thought it was 2. Chris and Mark. That's great. Shout out to Chris and Mark, our 2 best fans. And if you guys want to clone yourselves, that would help quite a bit.
That would be good for the numbers.
Anyway, that was our show, and we thank you guys for checking us out. We'll be back next week, probably sometime. And if you want to support us on Patreon, just send us all the money that you have. We don't really have one, but if you would like to find us, Bob, where can they find you on social media?
They can find me at Bob Hansen Jokes on Twitter. Sometimes I reply to inspirational things from hot chicks or John Cena about my hernia and my girdle.
That's funny.
Yes, I like to do that. So definitely follow me on Twitter. I enjoy that at Bob Hansen Jokes, Twitter and Instagram, but above all, at Beachtown Comedy on the Twitter and the YouTube, which no one does. I mean, they like us on Podomatic. That's the funny thing, is our YouTube videos, our YouTube numbers are like shit second cousin, but they like us on Podomatic for some reason. There's a lot of people anonymously who do not want to publicly get involved, but are still listening to us on the Podomatic site. So we're helping somebody somewhere. And again, I just want to say you're welcome to all the lives I saved. Yeah. Jesse Egan, where can we find you?
You can find me at Jesse Egan Comedy on all social media and Venmo. And also check out the other podcast that I do, Awful Neutral. It's a Dungeons and Dragons comedy podcast. And who knows, maybe Chris and Mark would enjoy that one too, guys.
That's a real possibility.
But yeah, thanks so much for supporting the show. And I've been Jesse, and on behalf of Bob, thank you guys so much. We love you, and Excelsior.
David Bowie's penis.
Thank you.